Hello and welcome back to another edition of the NBL1 Show, thanks to Coles Express. I'm your host, Megan Hustwaite, and this is my Splash sibling, Pete Hooley.
Oh, it's good to be here, and there's a lot of big performances, a lot of great team performances, two great guests. We finally get to complete a quartet, and if you don't know who we're talking about, you probably can figure it out sooner rather than later. But starting to see some NBL players trickle into the NBL1 men's side and WNBL players on the women's side, and normally when that happens, there's some big performances, and that's what we've got.
Can we call ourselves the Splash siblings?
I think we can do better than that. I think Splash is just too common.
We're not common.
We were going to say the Splash sisters down in NBL1 Central, but I think we can get a better name for them. That's actually Spencer and Olivia Levicki. So I think we can do better for ourselves. Maybe someone can help us out.
Okay, like that. Now, it was a huge round of action, as Pete said, and it was amazing to see all the pink kits across the competition, across the country, for Pink Round, for B, C and A. It's great when we have these initiatives, Pete.
It's awesome. I mean, last year I was running around Nutter Wodonga and we get the whole pink jersey and you're supposed to give it back, but I made sure that I kept mine, so I've got mine still in the wardrobe. So yeah, it's always a good thing to support, but just to see it out there and then people get involved with the fans, it's great.
Let's crack into a bit of a look at the round that was. We'll start with NBL1 North and the men, and Gold Coast had their first win, coached by Anthony Petrie.
Well, I mean, they're loaded. They're coached by greatness in Peach. The Lamar Patterson had 26, 6 and 7, and he's alongside Jason Kadee, who had 26, 9 and 7. And just to add a little cherry on top, Will Magnay is still due to come for Gold Coast, so I'm sure they're looking forward to adding their full piece to the puzzle.
Rockhampton, they won with Todd Blanchfield teaming up with Kendall Stevens and Isaiah Moss. That is a fair team as well.
That is a really good shooting outfit. Todd Blanchfield had 30 points himself, so once they get rolling, they're going to be a tough team to beat. Speaking of a loaded team, Northside Wizards, Anthony Drimmick, he's teaming up with Mitch McCarron. Drimmick had 33, 7, 9 and 5 steals, that's different for Anthony Drimmick. Defense in NBL1 doesn't need to do it, and he's got 5 steals to go along with it, so I'm expecting some big numbers from him.
And another NBL name in action on debut for the Logan Thunder.
Breakers guard Rasmus Bach. So he came out there, had 24 points for Logan, and he can light it up. We saw him as a little bit of a bench spark for the Breakers. And some big performances we're going to continue to see in NBL1 North.
Great to see the NBL talent trickling into the NBL1 season. As you said, Pete, let's have a look at the women's action now. And Abby Cabillo had the game winner for Brisbane against Ipswich. Great to see some of the WNBL talent on show in NBL1. Speaking of a big game for Shyla Hill with 33 points, 10 rebounds and 4 assists in a win over USC Rip City. And there was an epic overtime game between Mackay and Cairns.
Oh, that was huge. The Meteorettes win at the buzzer thanks to Monique. And Mackay, the top of the ladder, 2-0 for their first loss for Cairns. And that's the first time I've seen Abby's game winner. That was a tough game winner. That's the first time I've seen that. I must have skipped it. There's a lot of NBL1 highlights trying to get your head around. But off balance, little floater. As we're watching some of the highlights from Shyla Hill, I'm expecting some big numbers from her to continue to roll out. If she's getting 10 rebounds, she's not going to be far away from a triple-double.
Yeah, we'll definitely have her on the show soon, the way she's performing. Well, Pete, we love nothing more than a Froling on the NBL1 show, and today we complete the quartet. And it's a very big warm welcome to Alicia Froling, the Knox star, who joins us. Welcome, Frol.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Have we saved the best for last?
Absolutely. Definitely have.
Well, there's no doubt about that, because we mentioned a little bit before we got you on that your brother Harry didn't give us a whole lot, and we know that you give us a lot more here. But tell us a little bit about the start to your NBL1 campaign.
Well, I'm with Knox Raiders this year. We started probably with the 2 losses that we shouldn't have lost, but the past 2 games we've really started to click. I felt really good with how I'm playing too, and that's a credit to my coaches and my teammates. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a really exciting season for us.
So a huge performance for you at the weekend, 30 points and 9 rebounds. And we believe that there's been a little bit of a tweak to your game. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, probably a pretty massive tweak, to be honest. A bit unorthodox, but I have had I've had 2 major surgeries on my right wrist. It just doesn't want to work anymore properly. There's a bit of nerve damage and stuff in there. And it's probably been 2 years of me rehabbing that and just trying every single day to get that back to normal. And I was just done with that. So I've decided to start shooting the ball with my left hand. And it's been 3 weeks and it feels amazing, like beyond amazing. Like I'm shooting really well from the free throw line. I hit a 3 in the last game, which even I don't think I didn't expect to be shooting threes with, probably I was going to give it like 6 months until I did that. So it's come along really well and I've just got a lot of confidence at the moment.
Well, tell us, when did this thought first come about? You mentioned all the issues you had with your right wrist, but a lot of us, when we're shooting in warm-ups and we're mucking around, we'll throw it up left-handed or granny style, but never once does it actually come into a thought of, hey, this might be the way I now have to go forward in my whole career.
Yeah, I think it got to the point where it was actually a massive mental battle for me because I knew that I wasn't the best player that I could be out there. And then it got to the point where I was like, my wrist doesn't work. I've favoured my left hand around the rim and in the post. And I was like, my left hand works. I know, my biggest thing my whole life has been how hard I've worked on my game. And I was like, I know that if I put time and, what I was basically putting into my right hand to try and get it better, if I do that to my left hand, I can shoot the ball. I know I can do that. I know how to shoot. It's just, for whatever reason, my brain doesn't connect to my right hand properly. So I was like, stuff it. I'm shooting left-handed and it's paid off really well so far. And I think, just with more practice, it's going to get better and better.
I can't wait to see how this plays out because it's such an incredible thing to not only be able to just shoot and get a good form, but to now have completely transform your game. You realise there is a strong chance that you become the best left-hander in the family by the end of the year.
I don't think Sarah will be too pleased to hear that. But yeah, there's definitely now some competition. I feel like I could already be close to claiming that title.
I'm with it. I'll give it to you.
Well, there's so much competition in the Froling family, as we know. Now, your twin Keely playing for Launceston again, you had 58 points between you across the weekend, and she likes a 3-ball. So is that something that's rising up in you, Frol? Are you going to start, outscoring Keely?
Yeah, look, my aim is to win every game, but then there's also that thing with Keely. Obviously, it's been a few years since I've felt my best playing basketball, and now I'm starting to get there again. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm coming for you, Keely. And then when we play Tassie, or when we play down in Tassie, I think it's July or something, that's going to be a big game.
Well, we'll make sure we'll circle that one. But so let's talk a little bit about now your mindset of this whole NBL1 season. You're coming off the NBL season with Canberra. So is it more about you really refining now this new style of play? What else do you want to try and get out of the NBL1 season?
Yeah, main goal is to win a championship. I signed with Knox really early, actually in December. Kennedy, our coach, was assistant with Cats, and he was like, I want you. And I was like, absolutely. Knox were a great team last year, and straight away I was just like, I want to go. I'm competitive. I want to win. And then individually, definitely, it's just something I feel really confident. It's just about growing my game. It's about getting that, that shot back and being really aggressive to the rim. And I think I've started really well, but I know I can do a lot more as well.
You mentioned Kennedy, your coach at the Raiders, and he was your assistant coach at the Caps last WNBL season. There's a few jobs going in the WNBL at the moment. Would you endorse him to return to the league as a head coach, something he's done in the past with a few WNBL clubs?
Yeah, absolutely. He works his ass off. He's all over it with all his stuff, and he, really cares about his players too. So absolutely, I think he would be a great WNBL coach.
Now I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned Keely down in Tassie, Harry's down there as well. How many years until we potentially get all 4 Frolings on the same club, but men and women playing alongside each other, or is that just not a possibility because you like competing too much against each other?
Oh, that would be really cool. I don't know. It would take a lot, I think. There would be a lot of fighting, I would probably say. Not even just on the basketball court, off the basketball court, about everything. I think the last time we were all together was during COVID, and everything was a competition. Everything. It was intense. So I don't know. It might be a few years It might, yeah. We'll see.
We'll put that out to a club.
Yeah.
You get both Harry and Sam, Keely and Alicia. There's some good things. Competition breeds success.
Oh, well, two of them are already in Tassie. Imagine 4 Frolings protecting the island.
That was where my thought process was at, but it's a bit cold down there, so maybe we get somewhere a little bit warmer.
Now, Keely, you guys play the Geelong Supercats on Friday night. It's going to be a huge game. They've got a lot of stars in that team, a lot of WNBL players that you've played against during the season. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be a really big game. Obviously, they've got a lot of talent and, it's going to be good. I think we've started to click as a team and we've started to get some stuff rolling. Still got a long way to go, but I think it's a really exciting game for us.
Well, we're excited to watch that game and watch how your career now transpires. I think this is one of the most exciting stories of NBL1. We're just switching hands and starting to shoot the ball, let it fly. Good luck for the rest of this season. Good luck for the rest of your career. And you let us know which club you'd like to stay at if it's Knox, and we'll put in the word to get all 4 Frolings together at one stage. So thank you so much for joining us and good luck.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Great to catch up with Alicia Froling. Let's continue our look at NBL1 South from the weekend, and we'll continue on with women's action. It was the Goldfields clash, Ballarat and Bendigo. The rivalry's pretty big, isn't it, Pete? And Bendigo 3-1 to start the season, continued their dominance with a big win over the Miners.
95-70. That's a huge win over Ballarat. You're right, that rivalry will always be strong. Tess Madgen, 29 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, and Abby Werung also had 26 points of her own. There's some big performances.
Mount Gambier women are still undefeated. They handed Casey their first loss of the season, well, their first loss ever in NBL1 South, coming in, and then took down Dandenong Sharika with 33 points, 5 rebounds and 7 assists against Casey. And then she backed it up with 20 points and 8 dimes against Dandenong. So we saw her in action with the Sydney Flames during the WNBL season. Great to see what she's doing in NBL1.
And great to see this dynamic duo back for Launceston. Keely Froling, sister of Alicia, 28 points, 12 rebounds, and Kelsey Griffin, 21 and 10 with a win over Kilsyth. And Keely had 52 last season, or was it the year before?
No, last season.
Last season. That is a tough benchmark for anyone to try and beat. So maybe the only person who can beat those records is the person themselves. So we'll see what happens.
Maybe it's left-handed.
Maybe it's a left-handed Alicia. If it is, I'm here for it.
And shout out to Amy Rochi, who had 37 points for the Supercats in their win over Keilor. As we move on to the men now, we'll continue with the Supercats theme. And the Geelong side are growing great guns.
Well, they are. And this is a team that was really strong on the roster last year and probably underperformed based on what they could do. But they're going to be really tough to beat this year. 4-0 in the season. George Blagojevich, he is starring for them. He had 29 and 13 against Keilor. And you have all those pieces. You have Isaac Turner, DeMarcus Gatlin, and then you're going to add Jack White into the mix. Oof. And I think, from what I've been told, he's going to be suiting up this weekend. So that's exciting for Geelong. They play Eltham this week. Tim Guers now had a game winner for at the buzzer for Ringwood against Nutter Waddings. That always feels good. We're starting to see a lot of buzzer beaters.
I was just going to say, we're seeing a lot of them, aren't we?
We normally see them in NBL1 West. That was big last season. There was a lot of buzzer beaters coming out of there, but now we're starting to see it a bit on the East Coast, which is great.
A little bit more love for Mount Gambier because Nick Marshall, Adelaide 36's DP, is doing big things for them. Mount Gambier also undefeated. He had 35 points, 13 boards and 4 dimes against the Rangers after going for 24, 8 and 5 against Casey earlier in the round. And he's off to a good start this season too.
He's an exciting talent. Look, took a lot of confidence out of that development spot for the Adelaide 36ers. And I think he will get a look in from a couple of NBL teams, especially with all that talk of expansion. There's a lot of teams in the NBL1, a lot of players in the NBL1 are trying to put their best foot forward, and that's what we're starting to see with young guns like Nick Marshall.
Time to catch up with our guest from NBL1 East this week. His name is Branden Jenkins, and he's all rugged up. Welcome to the NBL1 Show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Now, anyone would think the cold weather has hit. How are conditions in Albury?
They're cold right now. So I woke up, it was 7 degrees Celsius, I want to say. So it was pretty cold in the morning. I get up and do my workouts in the morning. So yeah, it was pretty brutal this morning. I had my vest. I took my vest off for the interview. I had the vest on as well.
You could have kept it on. You could have kept it on. Everybody knows the weather in Albury, but this is not your first complete taste of Australia. You told us a little bit before how you were signed in 2020 for Albury. What happened in that situation?
I came down. literally for about 2 weeks, and we're training and we're getting everything going. And coach get a call and he lets everyone know, like, yeah, everybody got to go home. City's going down. And as I was coming over, the NBA was shut down as well. So I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, if the NBA is going to be shut down, no way another country is going to be playing as well. So I kind of figured everybody was going to go home. I didn't think it was going to be that soon, but you know how that goes.
And how long since when that all happened did you start to realise, look, as soon as everything's open again, I want to get back down there and experience what I was going to a couple of years ago?
It was good. I kept in good contact with a couple of the guys, the coaches, the president here. They all told me that they wanted me to come back. I just had to, stay prepared and stay focused and, stay ready, get the vaccine for sure. But other than that, yeah, I was ready. I was ready to come back and, play in front of the fans, and Aubrey is a great community. So it was nice.
So it's been a long time coming, finally playing for the Bandits and in front of that home crowd. What has the experience been like? You mentioned the fans.
Oh, man, you guys know we got Lauren as well as Lauren Jackson, the legend. So she packs the house for us, and, she it's just awesome. It's awesome. The kids show a lot of support. The parents come in, they do a good job of, bringing the kids down, and they be hyped, and that's what gets us going, to be honest.
And you being a pro yourself, you probably get a bit more understanding than these young kids who get to watch Lauren Jackson. But what she is doing right now for the women's program, at her age, we know her body that she's come back from, and dominating. As a pro, being able to sit back and watch, are you in awe of what she's doing?
I'm literally in awe. I go early to watch her play. Literally, we got to be at the gym at about 6:30, but I get there like 5:45, 5:50. Just to see her warm up and just to see everybody taking pictures and, the atmosphere is crazy. Just to see her, at her age, we have a lot of conversations. I got a good relationship with her, so we have just a lot of conversations. But she's awesome to see, just, what she does and about her just being so big. She helps the other girls out. I reckon that she gives the other girls confidence on our team. Like, just to know, okay, I'm on the court with Lauren, so I gotta bring my A game tonight. So it's pretty cool to watch.
I love that so much. That is the influence and effect of the GOAT, isn't it? Now,
yes.
You spoke about her dominating. Dominating is what you did at the weekend. We've seen the game winner. Take us through what was going through your mind as that eventuated.
So everyone had thought I was going to pass the ball. So I was just like, no, this game is too close. The fans were up on their feet. So I just had to give them what they wanted to see, to be honest with you. I thought the guy was literally going to pressure me up to try to get the ball out of my hands, but he let me literally walk down and get into my, pattern and move. So it was awesome, for real. I thank him for doing that, for sure. It was all on him.
Well, it's not so often. We mentioned Lauren and then the game winner. She had an outstanding stat line, but gets overshadowed by a game winner from yourself. Did you apologise to her after, or did you just look at her and say, look, this competition is on. I know this is named after you, this place, but I'm here and I mean business as well.
Yeah, she understands. She sent me a message. She lets me know, like, yeah, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. You motivate the guys. But yeah, she wasn't too pleased with that. She had 41 points, I believe.
Yeah,
she had 41, so yeah.
She had 41,
tough.
and we're pretty sure a 50-point game from her is close. So she's going to set a couple of targets for you to get. Now, we know you're in Albury. So Albury used to be part of the NBL1 South. Now they're in NBL1 East. Is there anything you particularly want to see if you have any time off while you're in Australia? Get around to Sydney, maybe see some certain sites, do some things in Australia?
Definitely Sydney, Melbourne. I have a couple guys. I'm real close friends with Duwop Reed that plays in the NBL with the Illawarra Hawks. So we played at college together. So we talk all the time. He tried to get me down to Perth with him and, Melbourne and Sydney and all those things. But yeah, just traveling to Sydney. We're on the bus for like 6 hours. So the only thing I get to do is look out the window and just see a little bit. But other than that, I don't get to do much. We're in a hotel and we got game times. And, yeah.
Well, I'm sure Duop will take you out and about to show you the sights. But you mentioned being a college team, LSU. You had a little bounce around in the States. How do you think college has prepared you for playing in Australia? Because you get to build those relationships and connections with international players like Duop Reed early. When did you start to think, you know what, after college, I wouldn't mind playing in Australia at some point?
You know what's funny? So when Duop first came to America in 2016, we was at a JUCO in Dallas, in Houston, Texas together. So we played literally like 3 years together before we both signed to LSU. So we always had conversations. He was my roommate. We always had conversations about, okay, bro, I want to come and play for Australia. Like, he always told me, like, man, it's a good place to be. The people are great. So I'm like, yeah, one day I want to come. So I get to LSU. We have an okay season. But I met Kieran Hayward, the guy that he's down here with me as well. So I met him, and we had talks as well about, okay, I want to come down and, see what it's like, see what the atmosphere is like, see how the culture is a little bit different basketball-wise. So just to rewind full circle, when I found out Kieran was available, I reached out to his agent. I reached out to him. And I said, bro, just come down here and play in Albury with me. So, the rest is history. He came down, he signed, and, he's my roommate now. So it's just it's good to have that connection with a guy I went to college with. Now we're back here, in Albury. And he get to talk to me about Sydney and, the opportunities he had here growing up here. I met his mom, but it's been pretty nice, man. It's been pretty good.
Well, we already love the impact that you're having in the league, and we look forward to more in the future. So you can tell us now, is Australia a place that you think you might be staying for a couple of years and see what happens? Yeah,
for sure. Our season is over in September, so my goal is to, get on the radar of some of these NBL teams, go out and work out, get a couple of looks with those guys and, keep my talents here for a while.
Well, that sounds pretty good to us. We reckon any NBL team would be pretty lucky to have you as part of their roster. Great to catch up with you on the show this week. And stay warm there in Albury. Maybe pop the vest back on.
Exactly. I will. Hopefully these guys come and fix my heat soon. But I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Geez, Pete, we've had some great interviews on the show today.
Well, we have, and I'm sure Lauren Jackson, if you're watching Branden's interview, get his heater fixed. We know it's not too warm up in Albury, so if you can please just get his heater fixed, because he had 27 points with that buzzer beater for their win over the Inner West, so please look after him, make sure he's warm.
Sutherland's Lachlan Hutchison had 30, 11 and 4 steals against Bankstown in a win at the weekend. And then we also had some action with Illawarra up against Maitland.
Koldagak, he's a really exciting prospect. He was in action for Illawarra for the first time against Maitland. Had the 27 points. He's looking to have a big breakout season, an exciting prospect, and the best is yet to come for him.
Goat Watch, it's becoming a weekly segment, and why not, on the NBL1 Show. Lauren Jackson, 41 tomorrow. Happy birthday, LJ, to the Goat. She had 41 points at the weekend. And
13 rebounds in 27 minutes. Now, did do it against the bottom of the ladder side, but it doesn't matter. She was 9 points away from, I've said a 50-point game is coming. It's well and truly coming, but in terms of Player of the Week, which we get put on the socials, we're just going to have without the GOAT Player of the Week. Because let's be honest,
it's like an asterisk.
Everyone else, she's going to get Player of the Week nearly every time she steps onto the floor, which is fine. She is the GOAT for a reason. But we'll try and share the love. Just her stats. She's shooting the rock well. She's moving well. I'm excited for what could transpire in the next 6 to 8 months.
I love that Branden was like an out-and-out fan of the GOAT too, and so he should be.
But that's exactly right. That's what everybody is. That's just the presence. Look at the crowd in Albury. It is insane. The fact that they all get there to watch her, and then the men's game follows with a game winner. Just all good things happening in Albury. You know what that spells? A great night at the RSL after.
Yeah, we might have to do a road trip.
That was my favourite part.
Yeah.
Get up there, try and get the win on their home floor, and then go out to the RSL.
Well, the Norths remain undefeated at 4-0 with a win over Manly, completing our action in NBL1 East Women at the weekend. Let's go west now, Pete, and we'll start with the women's action. And East Perth had a huge weekend.
Well, they had 2-0 weekend. Anytime you get a doubleheader wins, that's always good. Beating the Perth Redbacks and the Eastern Suns. And then Joondalup still undefeated. They had a 46-point win against Lakeside.
Coburn still strong in second place. They handed Mandurah their first loss of the season with 36 points and 13 rebounds. A huge performance from Jesse Edwards.
On the men's side, now this is a name that a few NBL people might be familiar with. That's former Perth and Southeast Phoenix Devondrick Walker. He helped Rockingham go 2-0 the weekend. They're 5-1 on the season. 32 points and 13 rebounds versus the Slammers, followed up by 33 and 5 versus the Suns. Look, he can flat out play. That's the reason why he was playing for the Wildcats and the Phoenix. He's got a great stroke from outside, and Greg Hire is petitioning for some NBL teams to take a look at him. And look, we've seen over the course of the years, there is no reason why he couldn't end up back in there and have a big performance in his career.
Meanwhile, in NBL1 West men's, Geraldton are still top of the ladder, Pete.
Or Mathiang Mu, he had 23 points. Cameron Coleman, 24 points for the Stars. They're the Stars for an undefeated Buccaneers at 6-0. Again, big performances coming out west. We love to see it.
Lots of big performances in NBL1 Central as well. As usual, we'll focus in on South Adelaide. Did the Splash sisters have a new family member, Pete?
Oh, they might have to. Jay Johnson joining for all that had 20 points or more in their undefeated record intact. And look, Splash reached out to me and said that we're not going to go with Splash sisters, so we've got to think of something else. And maybe that's because her nickname is Splash herself, so it's hard to get somebody else to jump on board. They're a dynamic duo. They're fun to watch. They might have now a trio, but either way, they are just dominant anytime they step onto the floor together. And a name that we're starting to get very familiar talking about, Morgan Yeager and the Southern Tigers. They defeated the Central Districts, and Jasmine Fijo continues her absolute tear, had 23, 6 and 7 for West Adelaide.
She's averaging 23.5 points, 5 boards and a league-leading 6 assists. Now, she was on the roster at Adelaide Lightning last season, didn't play, but I think she's a huge look-in for a WNBL contract and getting some serious game time. So she might be part of a new look Lightning in the WNBL next season.
There you go. That's what the NBL1 is for, both on the men and women's side, is to put your name forward for what could potentially be a WNBL spot or an NBL spot. And on the men's side in NBL1 Central, Daniel Johnson, he bounced back in a big way. He was scoreless last week, but had 20 and 20 and had 7 assists in a win over the Eastern Mavericks. Followed it up with 19, 6 and 8. 2009, I recruited him to South Adelaide when I was there, and this man put up a 40-point quadruple-double with 12 blocks, and I think he had 18 rebounds in that. So that was younger Daniel Johnson. That was a long time ago, but this man can absolutely tear up the competition any night he chooses to.
Red wine areas for DJ.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Sorry, it took me a while. I was trying to think of, no, I've had a few drinks with him over the course of our life. I'm not sure red wine was one of them, but I'm sure...
Probably red.
Oh, no surprise.
Cruises or something.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, we had a few UDLs back in the day. UDLs.
Shout out to Forestville teammate Adam Doyle, who had 27 points and 10 dimes, then 23 points. And we've got our eye on a certain 36's DP.
Lockie Ulbrich with the Southern Tigers. He had 29 and 12 and 4 assists in the win over Central Districts. And the Belmont players with the Adelaide 36ers are trying to put the league and CJ Bruton on notice to say that they deserve a bit more of an opportunity.
Well, Pete, it's been a super fun show today. Before we go, rate your Frolings for me in order.
Oh, that is really tough. Not really. It's Keely and Alicia can share number one.
Yep.
Keely had the 50-point game, so she maybe just sneaks up there, but Alicia now shoots left-handed, which I find fascinating. So they can share that. Sam next and Harry as low as it gets. Love you, Harry. Harry knows why I'm saying that.
Yeah, same. Hard to disagree with that. Pete, it's been fun. We can catch all the action on socials and the app. We talk about it every week, but God, the app's good.
Oh, it is, and there's so much to go around. Every conference has their own social medias as well in NBL1, so jump on board because there's highlights, game winners, dunks, big performances, and of course, Goat Watch every week.
Goat Watch. Enjoy a big round coming up. We'll see you next Tuesday on the NBL1 Show. Thanks to Coles Express.
I was building on a lecture. Verses coming daily under pressure.